So today we're going to go over a way of removing a bad spot in a picture. So that could be like a bald spot in some grass, a stain on some carpet or a shirt, a skin blemish, any of those things that you want to replace and with the normal background is when you would do something like this. So I'm going to go and grab an image. So I went to Google Images, I did a search here, and since this is a YouTube video, I went to Tools and made sure that I had something with Creative Commons license, and this image looks like it's pretty good here, so I'm going to copy that image. Then under Create New, make sure I select Clipboard, hit Create, then I can paste that image on my screen. There are two main ways that people do this. You can use the rubber stamp tool, which works a lot like copy and paste, where you take a spot and you clone it over to another area. So the way that works with the rubber stamp tool is first you hold down Alt. First make sure our layer is actually selected. Then if you try and click on something, you're going to see that it needs a source area first. So if I want to cover up this part of the crack, I probably want to click over here and copy this clean section to this area. So I'm going to Alt click, and now that part becomes the area I'm drawing. So you'll see that whenever I draw, it's actually copying that texture over to the right. But that also means that anything that's over there, like this little white spot, ends up being copied over as well. And then you see the limitations of that is that if you get over here, I actually got some of the grass. So I'm going to do undo, but since I was holding it the whole time, it's going to undo everything. So instead, you probably want to do a small area at a time. The other thing that people like to do is the spot healing brush. So the spot healing brush, if you change to content aware, will look at the area around it and try and fill it in with a matching texture. So cover that, and that's kind of what happens. There will be some spots where you might have to do it a second time. That means you can also fix these other spots that you may not like as much. And that kind of gets it all in one shot. It will kind of blur it a little bit, so it won't look quite as grainy as it did before. Step back a little bit and try that with the other ones. So create texture. Tries to create a texture and it kind of looks like it's trying to match what's around it, but the color's not quite right. But the texture matches a little bit better, just the color's off. Then proximity match seems to actually have done the best job of keeping that texture and the color. Oh, maybe not that time. So I think what happened is when you get a little bit farther and the road is out of focus and that part gets blurry, this part ends up being like that too. So I probably need a smaller brush if we're going to use proximity match on this part. And just get the little piece I need. Then here, when this part is a little bit blurrier, that's okay, because that part is blurry in the rest of the picture as well. we go, that looks pretty good. Looks nice and organic. I go back in time again with Control Z. Another way you can do this is you can select an area. So I'm going to go to the lasso. I'm going to select this area right here. And you can go to Edit, Fill, and change this to Content Aware Fill. Hit OK. And that's sort of similar to the brush. The advantage with that is if you have an area that can be selected with the lasso, the magnetic lasso, the quick select tool, the magic wand, then you can fill in that area easier than with trying to freehand it with a spot healing brush using Content Aware. So depending on your picture and your texture, it could be Content Aware Fill works best, could be the spot healing brush, could be the rubber stamp tool, could be the healing brush tool, which works a lot like the rubber stamp tool, where you have to sample an area. So I'd have to alt click to get a spot and then kind of draw that space over there to cover up a spot. So if I want to cover up that spot, I'd alt click right next to it and I'd duplicate that texture over there. Once I have my image the way I want it, I'm going to paste another copy on top. And I'm going to go to my Move tool, and I'm actually going to move that directly to the side until it snaps right on the edge. And then I'm going to go to Image, Reveal All, and that will resize your picture to cover both images. So anything that you have on the screen. So now I can see both a before and an after picture. That way when I turn it on, my teacher can see that I actually did something to this. And then I will do File, Save As. I'm going to save this on my computer. So I'm going to go to Creative Cloud Files. I can open up my Photoshop folder. I'm going to call this Repair. Check the box so that this doesn't show up every time. Hit OK. Then I save a copy to turn into Canvas. So File, Save a Copy, also on my computer. This time we're going to make a PNG. And that's going to also be Repair. If you want to keep it as Repair Copy, that's also fine if that helps you find the file easier to turn in. So you're going to have Repair, it's going to be a PNG, I'm going to hit Save. I want it to be the smallest file. It says it saves slower, but that's a negligible difference because you'll see it finished almost instantly. So then when I'm in Canvas, I'll hit Start Assignment. I will upload a file, choose the file I want to upload. In my Creative Cloud Files, I want to go to Photoshop. If you click the down arrow and go to large icons, you can see the pictures we've made. I'm going to do my repair image and then submit my assignment. Once you see the confetti, you are done.